All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the March 25th City of Las Cruces Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Appreciate your patience this evening. We had some technical difficulties that we just got resolved. So we'll go ahead and ask if there's any conflicts of interest this evening from our commissioners. Seeing none. Looking to any members of the public who wish to speak on an item that is not on tonight's agenda. Can I see a raise of hands? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close that portion of public participation. And before we move to the acceptance of tonight's agenda, are there any comments or corrections that need to be made to the meeting minutes from February? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and look for a motion to accept tonight's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I second.
Commissioner Thurston?
Yes.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
And Commissioner Costa?
Yes.
And Chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we will move directly into new business. Item 6.1 is a request for approval of a preliminary plat known as the Heather Hills subdivision. And I will turn it over to staff for presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Adam Ochoa for the Community Development for the record. First case we have before you is case 24CS05-00025, which is a proposed preliminary plat known as the Heather Hills Preliminary Plat. It is located with an actual address of 5150 Stern Drive. Total area encompasses roughly 22 acres in size and is currently zoned R1A, which is single family medium density, would be an NH1S under Realize. It is located within what is the suburban neighborhood place type under Elevate Las Cruces. It is accessible through Silverado Loop, which comes off of Stern Drive, and then heads down south off of what is Pebble Brook Drive down to Rocky Drive, which is out into the county, to give you an idea where this is. Stern Drive being the main access for this point, that is a designated minor arterial roadway, is designated not only by Elevate Las Cruces, but also the Metropolitan Planning Organization Thoroughfare Plan, and Rocky Road is designated as a collector roadway as well. Just to give you an idea of what's around there, and I'll show you a little bit more when we get to the aerials. There are single-family residential uses, which is basically the northern portion of this master plan area. To the north, single-family residential, standard industrial, low-density residential land uses, and multifamily low-density to the south, Interstate 10 to the east, and agricultural to the west. Showing the property here. I don't know, I think somewhere over here back a few years ago where this area, it was actually, the master plan was amended in order to allow for this subdivision. So this was part of the Heather Hills master plan area. So showing here that R1A area that we're speaking of right now. Here is that aerial showing that undeveloped area, industrial area, residential multifamily to the south, that other existing single-family residential to the north, and agriculture to the west. Here is what that preliminary plat looks like. So this preliminary plat does follow what the master plan called out for. The master plan was approved back in November of 2023 by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Basically eliminated a condition on the property, which limited this property to only be developed for essentially a school or institutional use. That condition was removed by the Planning and Zoning Commission on the master plan. The zoning then went up to City Council, and that was approved as well to remove the condition in February of 2024. So this new preliminary plat here of Heather Hills subdivision does follow the master plan as required by the City of Las Cruces subdivision code. just get you kind of oriented where this is. So this is looking northeast off of Silverado Loop, off of Stern Drive. So this will be one of the main entry points here. Looking on Silverado Loop, looking west toward where that development will be taking place there. You can see it where that raw land is to the west. Looking down south to that industrial properties, south of the property, the proposed northern access point to that existing subdivision, to the north access point. Pebblebrook continuing down south, and of course there's that Cobblestone Creek which extends down south to the subdivision as well. So when staff did their analysis, we didn't see any health, safety, welfare issues associated with the proposed preliminary plat. And on top of that, as stated before, one of the biggest things that a preliminary plat is required to do is follow an approved master plan, which this does. It does follow the Heather Hills master plan. It does follow all zoning regulations per lot size requirement, dimensions, development standards, so forth like that, and existing development in the area. Public notice was sent out to all adjacent property owners as required by code. Staff received one phone call just inquiring about the development and its status, as in when the next phase will happen, when the development will happen, and so on and so forth like that. With that, oops. My apologies, this should be first. On February 19th of 2024, the DRC did review this proposed preliminary plat after some minor discussion, excuse me, between staff and the applicant for some minor changes that need to be done to the plat that could be done administratively before coming before the Planning and Zoning Commission. DRC did recommend approval for the proposed preliminary plat. So with that, staff and the DRC does recommend approval based on the following findings. Plat follows all requirements of the master plan of the R1A zoning district. It has significant neighborhood compatibility with what is the existing already developed northern master plan area. The request is consistent with suburban neighborhood place type as called out by Elevate Las Cruces, as well as meets the purpose and intent of the 2001 zoning code, the Las Cruces subdivision code, and Las Cruces municipal code section 2-382. So with that, your options are: one, vote yes and approve the proposed preliminary plat as recommended by staff and the DRC. 2, to vote no and deny. 3, to vote to amend, or 4, vote to table and postpone and direct staff accordingly. That is the conclusion of my presentation. The applicant and the representative are here for any questions, and I stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? I've got a couple questions. First question is, making the assumption that they're following the previous development code, not the one that was just adopted, correct?
Mr. Chair, that is correct. They are, because this master plan and everything was approved under the previous code of the 2000 zoning code and the previous subdivision code. That is what they're following. That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. And then just have a couple of questions. Maybe I'll just start with what maybe is the easy ones first. So I noticed there's a tract B, tract E, and a tract D. I'm not sure if there's a tract C or not, but I'm wondering if you can speak to what those tracts are for.
The representative will be more happy to take care of that for you, sir.
Thank you. Yep, please come forward. And before you answer that question, I'm going to need to swear you in, so if you can state your name for the record. Can you state your name for the record?
Zach Libin.
And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, my name is Zach Libin, Libin Underwood Engineering and Surveying. And to answer your questions, Tract A is to be dedicated for right-of-way to the NMDOT along Stern Drive. Tract C is a 20-foot platted road that runs along between that sort of industrial zoned area and the residential lots. along.
Yeah, I can see
Okay,
that now.
thank you.
So that's going to be dedicated and improved as a road, like an alley?
No, what Track C is doing is dedicating half to those other property owners and half to this subdivision, because that was a platted but never dedicated or accepted road, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's just a no man's land there that doesn't go anywhere. And rather than leaving a no man's land there that could be problematic, it's being split half and half with those adjoining property owners, and specifically Track C is the ones being dedicated to the other property owners.
Okay, and then tract E and D?
Tract E is an existing utility easement, and that is going to be dedicated to the city. It contains a wide variety of utilities there. It's going to be asphalted and left as a utility tract there. Again, it includes a city sewer line, a water service, and telecom utilities. It's got a bunch of utilities in there, and so that's been dedicated to the city. And then tract B and D are the ponds. It has an attenuation pond as the stormwater comes underneath the interstate. It's got an attenuation there so that can be, allow the sediment to drop out and then be channeled in down the road from there. But again, sort of a feature to allow that drainage coming underneath the interstate to then come in a manageable way, in a maintainable fashion.
Okay, thank you. 2 follow-up questions. I think these are more directed to staff. So on tract E, that utility easement, it's going to be paved completely? That's a little over 1/10 of an acre, completely paved.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. It'll be paved.
No landscaping, just pure asphalt.
Mr. Chair, landscaping typically isn't allowed in utility easements just because of the potential of any type of vegetation messing with underground utilities in the area. A lot of our utility department and other utility departments of Paso Electric, they kind of have headaches sometimes when we do landscaping, so that's why it's just being paved for now, for it could just be utilized by the city as they need in the future, sir.
Okay, that seems a little excessive to me, that we would just pave 1/10 of an acre for the occasional access. My preference would be, if we can't do some sort of landscaping, to just leave it as a desert scrub. It just seems in today's day and age, the urban heat island, that seems just to be a little unnecessary, in my opinion. And then tract C, could you speak a little bit more about how that plays into just the overall development plan of the area? It seems like, I understand what the applicant just said, but we've got 2, potentially 3 cul-de-sacs that could have potentially connected and made a more connected network there in the neighborhood, especially with future development potentially. And I did actually have a question along those lines. I believe, but your aerial image in the presentation was different than was in the staff report, but that there looks like there's an existing subdivision. I guess this would be to the east, not the industrial part, but looks like a mobile home park maybe, that there's a dead end of one of those roads that would presumably could have been a connection point. Just if you could speak to sort of the connectivity and how it fits with future development, that'd be great.
It's just along the utility though, right? It's just along the
So this is an Elephant Butte Land and Trust Road.
but it just ends, that's correct here.
It ends there, and it was already vacated there.
Right. Mr. Chair, so that was what was the joys of what was the Elephant Butte Land and Trust Company, where they just basically, somebody in a larger city went and drew imaginary lines out in the desert. So this was a 20-foot road that they drew on a plat that really went nowhere, unfortunately. It's already been vacated to the north. That's where it went, into that residential subdivision to the north, but it really didn't go any further south than that, sir. It kind of terminated right where it was in that industrial area. Excuse me. Not only that, but I believe the actual trailer park, that Larjon Road, it's called out as road, I believe that's just an easement as well. So it's not an actual right-of-way that would allow for connectivity, unfortunately, sir.
Okay, but presumably if those two lots that I guess are manufacturing or something right now, if those were to be developed in the future, presumably, well, I guess there wouldn't be a road because it would be landlocked. Is that correct? Or could the road extend to the south?
Mr. Chair, it would be landlocked essentially because it cannot proceed to the south past that. It ends right essentially where that mobile home park starts, sir.
Gotcha, okay. So it's just an awkward artifact.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I believe those are all the questions that I have. And I would encourage staff to re-examine the rationale behind paving that 1/10 of an acre.
Mr. Chair, yes, sir. So this is the preliminary phase of this. During final plating and construction drawings, that's something staff will definitely bring up to our Public Works Department, our Utilities Department, possibly even our Parks and Rec, to see if we can do something a little more passive in that area, sir.
Appreciate that.
Sure thing.
Any other questions from the commission before I go to the public? All right, seeing none. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on this item this evening? Can I just see a show of hands? I see one individual. All right, would you come down, sir, and we'll give you 3 minutes to speak. And before you get started, can you state your name for the record?
My name is Jose Gallegos.
And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. So I live in an area just north on Dove Crossings development. And Dove Crossings was, back in 2008, one of the first phases of the building. And then recently they completed some more houses to the south. So the only two concerns I want to bring up is, and I've voiced this before in previous meetings going back to 2008, the need for some traffic control along Stern, especially now since another 80 homes are going to be built. A lot more traffic over the last 15 years, whatever it's been, since those houses have been built. And between Cholla and it's Broadmoor and Stern, or Cholla and Stern, which is the major intersection, not shown on the drawing, but it's just north, maybe not even a quarter of a mile north of that. Quite a bit more traffic over the last 15 years have been built up. And I hope that we're not waiting for an accident or some serious injuries or deaths to occur. I know there's been a lot of close calls. Hopefully, this is taken into consideration by the city, some sort of traffic control. If you go in front of the entrances, if you're heading south on Stern Drive, past the Dove Crossings major entrance, and now Silverado and Stern, which is the entrance for the second phase and now the third phase, it's supposed to be 40 miles an hour. Living in the Dove Crossings area, we got to be really careful because some blind spots, and people often go faster than 40 miles an hour along that area. And if you're familiar with that area, they built the I-10, I-25 interchange, very large bridge area. And again, there's some blind spots looking north up Stern from when you're exiting. So you got to be very careful about when you enter Stern Drive. So that's one concern. The second concern is some sort of parks for that area. Again, this is my third time coming to a city hearing over the last 15 years, and I've heard from the developers, yes, we're going to build a park. There's a drainage area which is west of these areas. It's quite large, a retention pond they built during the second phase, going back to 2021. Nice area compared to what they used to have. It was a temporary, which was weeded, full of mesquites and saltbush and a mosquito attraction. Since they built that drainage area, the mosquito problem has deteriorated quite a bit, which is, thank God for that. But a park, they talked about putting some sort of green area for kids in that area. Has not been, I haven't seen any movement on that. And in fact, it's kind of been neglected. They have some drainage areas that go on the surface as well as through stormwater drains. The surface water flow, there's some bollards there that have been an area of activity for vandalism. The bollards there have been removed, thrown into the drainage area. I've informed the city. So just, a little care for that area to make it nice for the residents to take their kids in a walk or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak on this item? One last. All right, seeing none, we'll come back to the commission. Commissioner Smith?
I just have one comment for Mr. Gallegos. I'm sensitive to your concerns about traffic. I'm a cyclist, and I used to ride Stern Drive a lot. I used to ride a lot on my road bike, and I haven't ridden in years just because of the volume of traffic and the speed. So I definitely appreciate your concern about that. That is a legitimate concern.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
staff, I have a couple of questions for you. One was, when was the last traffic study done in this area? Was it recently, within the last 3 to 5 years, or was it a bit prior to that?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Costa, it's been about that when University Meadows just to the north came into effect. They needed to do some type of traffic study for that entrance there per not only the city but NMDOT as well. I want to remind everybody Stern Drive is under NMDOT's domain, if you will. So even access points, new roads going there, you need to receive approval from NMDOT. So that was the last time that was done, ma'am.
So, my next follow-up question to that is, every time they add a new segment of the subdivision, do they have to renew that traffic study, or would that subdue from there?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Acosta, essentially that master plan was also, that traffic study was also produced, not an actual traffic impact analysis, but a traffic study was also submitted with the master plan amendment. So they had those numbers of the number of generations of trips, number of proposed houses, and that was provided to NMDOT as well. So any type of improvements that they would need at the time of construction, NMDOT will make them do those improvements to Stern Drive.
Thank you. And then I have one more question, follow-up question. In any of this master plan, is there any green area or parks planned, to the best of your knowledge?
Chair, Commissioner Acosta, there is a, since this University Meadows is part of it as well, there is a park planned in further phases away, which is a relatively decent-sized park that was part of the master plan area. And since this is master plan and that's what's the area that was called out for a park, that's what was approved, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
When's the trigger for the park? Meaning, is it after this one? Is it the next phase? Is it the
Chair,
what causes that to happen?
Chair Commissioner Thurston, it depends how it gets phased out. So University Meadows was actually phased out, and that's where the park was supposed to be. This one is not being phased. This is all being done at one fell swoop. So since this is a separate phase from that, but part of the same master planned area, that one gets done when that phase done. It gets done with that subdivision up north. What triggers it is depending on where it gets, the park gets designated in a master plan or a preliminary plat. Then at the time when final plan of construction drawings come in, that's when it gets built out essentially. And that's when Parks and Rec gets involved and make sure that what facility is being provided meets the standards of the city.
So currently, it'll just be collecting park fees.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Thurston, that is correct essentially until the park gets built, I would say.
Okay.
I have one more question. Regarding parks, looking at just development plan, has there been an area designated for a future park?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Smith, not in this Heather Hills subdivision. There is no area designated for parks, sir.
But in the master plan.
But in the master plan, that is correct. There is other areas in this, excuse me, in this master plan area that were designated for parks, sir. This master plan was originally approved back in, I would have to say about 2006, so over 20 years ago now. So back then, those standards are a little different than they are now. So parks may be a little more sporadic than they were, that they are now for requirements of today's code.
Yeah, looking at this plan, I think it was 2005.
There we go. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So my question, I guess, is because I was not here in 2006, and I think you did reference an amendment to a master plan, maybe 2023, I think it was. I have no recollection of that meeting. So can you just kind of refresh my memory at least of what is the master plan? And how are these components fitting together, and what is coming next?
Sure thing. Mr. Chair, the master plan area essentially is, I'll crudely highlight it with my cursor here. That is essentially the entire area. So this is what is the University Meadows subdivision, which is part of it, and this is what is the Heather Hills subdivision that's part of it. Park and everything like that was what was being proposed somewhere over here on one of these phases for, excuse me, for University Meadows. This area, previous to the amendment in 2023, was designated for a school only. So that 2023, that condition went away for only an institutional use, and now they're trying to do for single-family homes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, actually, that triggered my memory. I do remember that. So I guess the way that I look at it, but correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, this is the last phase, right? I mean, the rest of the subdivision appears to have been built out.
Mr. Chair, you are
Or-
correct. This is essentially the last phase of this master plan area.
So then the park, when is the park getting constructed?
Well, my apologies, I take that back. So this is the last phase of what is the master plan, but University Meadows, which is the northern one, there's still a phase or two that need to get done, sir, which is where the park is proposed to be located at, including an additional extension out to another road out into the county to the west as well, sir.
Okay. And then just going back to the concerns about traffic control at Stern Drive, or really anywhere along Stern Drive in this development, do we know what types of improvements the state is going to ask for in these particular intersections?
Mr. Chair, NMDOT, in our last conversations, they really don't, considering they still consider this a highway. Putting stop signs or lights really isn't something that they try to do. What they try to do is what there's new entrances or new roadways going into adjacent to Stern, they do decel lanes or deceleration lanes and acceleration lanes as well. So depending on whatever traffic analysis comes up with as to how to resolve if anything is needed, that is what they'd be required to do with the improvements of the subdivision, sir.
Okay, and are there any conversations that happen with the Department of Transportation about the fact that we've got subdivisions, we've got people out biking, walking? I mean, I understand that it's designated a state highway, but I think for all intents and purposes, you go out there and it's basically a collector road, an urban collector road, or at least it's certainly going to be that. Are there any conversations with the state about, hey, I know you don't like to put up a stoplight, but we kind of need one here if we're talking about, safety?
Mr. Chair, that's definitely something staff could bring forward and work with our Public Works Department and our Traffic Engineering section to see if we could open up those lines of communication as to potentially what can be happening, even signage. I mean, something like that can potentially help as well, sir. But we could definitely start those conversations. Since that has happened in the past, for instance, along Valley, Picacho, there were instances where we had issues, and Main Street / Baton Memorial and 70, and they've been more than willing to help us out with issues like that, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more than warranted here, especially as you continue to go up. I think there's more development that's planned along Stern Drive. I think it's time we reevaluate what the central purpose of Stern Drive is, and I would sit here and argue that it's not a rural highway and that we can afford to put some traffic control devices to improve safety.
Mr. Chair, and for the record, I concur with that. I think public safety is the utmost importance here, and I think we do need to collaborate with the state and emphasize that.
All right, if there's no more questions or discussion, Commissioner Thurston?
I got one more. I'm on Google Earth here on my phone trying to figure out your limits of the master plan. Because the other ones that I'm seeing here, I'm still kind of stuck on the park for some reason. It's not clear yet as to where the rest of the master plan is and how you're going to put something in. But if I understand it properly on the code, for when this was done, they probably don't have to put a park in unless it was stated in their master plan, because then they could just pay a fee in lieu and pay the park fees, and then they wouldn't have to install a park, and then it becomes a city's issue to figure out how to put a park in and buy land and other, unless the master plan designated that there was land that was supposed to be given up. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Thurston, that is correct. But from what I recollect, and again, this has been a few years since University Meadows was finalized and approved. That should have happened here in this area, sir. The reason that this is fresh in staff's memories because the neighbor here to the north were extremely agitated that this subdivision was going in, and they're proposing an actual excuse me, the road to actually be extended through here into their neighborhood. Neighborhood did not want that because they didn't want the traffic. The big selling point at the time that staff was trying to push for that road was one, connectivity, and then telling them two, now you have the luxury of you have access to a park, which is close to you, which should be around this area right here. So that's why I'm more than confident to say that in the University Meadows subdivision area, there was a proposed park in one of the last phases of the actual subdivision itself.
So do you have any documentation of that can show?
I don't have
Show
anything
us.
here, unfortunately, Commissioner Thurston. I do apologize about that.
Because I know sometimes we get hung up on wanting amenities at the developer's cost, but yet it was never. It was approved in the master plan without one, in different cases, right? So, and then there's ways that the city can still receive their funds to be able to put a park in later. So I'm just trying to make sure, because there's been other instances where in a master plan there was actually dedicated space that says you're supposed to give X amount in that area. And so I don't have anything as of right now or any evidence that you guys are showing me that we're supposed to have to put some park in. So as of right now, I'm of the opinion that just that they're not having to put any parks in, they just have to pay the fee. And then the city receives the park fee in order to move forward. Like, from what I'm seeing, there's no park that, we're not gonna see a park in the area is what I'm saying. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Thurston, you won't see it in this subdivision, sir, but staff did review the master plan, and this does align with the master plan, sir. The subdivision we're reviewing tonight, it does align with the master plan.
Okay, so the city will just get the fee to be able to put a park somewhere in the area at a later date.
However that was worked out, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, looking for a motion to approve item 6.1.
I move that we approve item 6.1.
I second.
Commissioner Acosta? Yes. Commissioner Thurston?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
And Chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 6.2, this is a request for approval for some additional signage in the University District. I will turn it back over to staff for a presentation.
All righty, folks. Adam Ochoa, Community Development for the record again. Next one we have here is a proposed sign variance for a property located at 680 East University Avenue. It is located on the southwest corner, what is East University Avenue and East Union Avenue. Total property encompasses about 8.5 acres in size, and it is the current location of the Las Cruces Convention Center. It is currently zoned UDCZ, which stands for University District Convention Zone. As you can tell, it is located within what is our University District overlay. Showing that property here, the Las Cruces Convention Center, University here, Union here, MSU property all around it, and then of course the city limits here to the north, interstate here to the southwest. Aerial here kind of showing that the convention center here, and just paying close attention to this area right here is what we're looking at for what the variances that we're requesting for today. And also keeping in mind this corner here for a previously approved sign variance that we did for the convention center a couple years back now. So what we're looking at is the code requirements under section 38-44.J.6, which is the University District Overlay Signage Standards, which allows for a maximum of one freestanding ground sign per lot. In the doesn't matter what size or anything, it's just one per lot. Ground sign shall not exceed 24 square feet in area, and ground sign shall not exceed 3 feet in height max. So essentially what is happening here, we're proposing variances to these standards. So the first variance is, the first one would be a variance of one freestanding sign to allow for two freestanding signs. There is that one existing kind of advertisement LED sign right on the corner of University and Union, which did receive a variance a few years back from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Second, we have a variance to the of 3 feet and 4 inches to the maximum permitted freestanding side ground sign height for a total of 6 feet 4 inches in height, and then a variance of 261 square feet to the maximum permitted freestanding size of that size, limiting it to 24 is per code. So showing here kind of a schematic or an artist rendition of what that sign would look like. Again, that is being located right here where there are some existing planters, kind of graveled area with some crusher fine. Oh. And there you can see that sign, what it would look like during the day. As you can see, it's away from out of the sidewalk, kind of in the elevated area of what is that kind of going towards the parking area for the convention center. It just basically is the letters that spell out Las Cruces on top of a platform that says the real New Mexico with some designs on that platform on the bottom. So the justification was this: the applicant stated that the sign will help benefit by helping increase not only community visitation to the area for people in the city, but also travelers to visit that area as well. Put more eyes in the area, if you will. They stated that the tourism, travel, and hospitality industry has still kind of suffered because of COVID-19, and economic hardships, low wages, loss of wages, and earning capacity is still being felt in the area. And they feel that the unique attraction will help drive, again, not only local but also visitors to this area, to visit and hopefully, spend in those multiple establishments located along the University Avenue corridor, and El Paseo, if you think about it as well, since it's relatively close by as well. When staff did their analysis, we saw no public safety, health, or welfare issues with the proposed sign variance. Staff did see that the sign can potentially be a destination spot. People, photo ops, so on and so forth like that coming into town, that'd be probably a good starting point for anybody visiting Las Cruces. Can draw more attention to the convention center itself and the university area corridor and the surrounding area, potentially adding additional economic development and redevelopment in the area, hopefully. There are some relatively underdeveloped or undeveloped lots close here that'd be great for redevelopment. More attraction to the area for boosting surrounding commerce. And on top of that, the proposed variance, the staff believes, does meet the criteria for approval for a variance as outlined in the 2001 zoning code. Again, spurring for economic development, not only in that area, but possibly as a citywide initiative as well. Public notice was sent out to all surrounding property owners per code. We did receive one phone call from adjacent property owners saying that'd be a welcome to the area, and hopefully that would show more people coming to that area. So one phone call in support of that. On March 3rd, the University District Citizens Design Review Committee, mouthful, did meet to review the proposed variance. They are a recommending body to the Planning and Zoning Commission. After a very minor discussion, I believe the minute was all of 6 minutes long, the University District Citizens Design Review Committee did recommend approval for the proposed variance. P&Z does have the final say on variances unless appealed to City Council. So with that being said, the findings for approval are one, the proposed sign is aesthetically pleasing and surrounding area can potentially spur economic development for not only from a neighborhood but citywide level. The variance request meets the criteria decision as outlined in Article 2, Section 38-10K of the 2001 Zoning Code. No public health, safety, welfare issues were identified. And of course, on March 3rd of this year, the University District Citizens Design Review Committee did vote to recommend approval for the proposed variance. So with that, your options: 1 to vote yes and vote to approve of the proposed variance, 2 to vote no and deny, 3 to vote to amend, direct staff accordingly, or table and postpone and direct staff accordingly. That is the conclusion of my presentation, and I stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Thurston?
With this variance and the previous variance for the signs, do you have a percentage of how much they have gone over now for the signage ordinance, as far as in size?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Thurston, I do not, unfortunately, but this itself, this one itself, when it comes to the square footage itself, is tremendous. I mean, that's what, 10 times, more than 10 times than what's allowed by code. And the reason for that is when staff was looking at the University District corridor, we're really just looking at the pedestrian area, if you will, the closer to university where people are walking. So you don't need a big sign because everybody's walking along that area. So those types of signs definitely make sense around those areas. This one's a little more of a heavily commuted area, trying to get into the corridor. It's kind of a little bit different, staff would argue, than what is the true corridor that's further going east along University, sir. That was, if I recall, the University District plan, that's what it stated. Signage and development in the University District should be more of a pedestrian scale, and that is the reason why the signs are these small. But an actual hard number, sir, I do not have, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Any other questions? I've got a couple. My first question is, who's paying for the sign? Is it the city that's paying for the sign, or is it, who's paying for the sign?
Mr. Chair, the applicants here for any questions, sir.
Hello.
Hi. Before you answer the question, can you state your name for the record so I can swear you in?
Yes, Rochelle Miller Hernandez.
And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I am Rochelle Miller Hernandez. I'm the director at Visit Las Cruces. And this sign is being paid for by the ARPA funds that we received to, that are dedicated solely to the recovery of the travel and hospitality industry.
Got it, thank you. And then, sort of, I guess, along the lines of the explanation or the rationale given about COVID and the COVID impacts to the tourism industry, I weirdly remember that this being the exact same rationale that we received for the first variance that we approved. Don't ask me how I remember that, but I'm almost 100% certain it was the exact same rationale. So my question is there any data to support the fact that a sign is what we need to recover from COVID in this industry? And just to explain where I'm going, that was the rationale the first time. And now it's been at least a year. I don't know when we heard that, but it's been at least a year. Now you're coming back with the same rationale to have an additional sign. So I'm just wondering, are these things related, or can you just maybe explain the rationale? Is there any hard data to support this? Can you just respond to that?
Sure. So first of all, even though they're both categorized as signs, they have totally very different uses. The first sign on the corner, the monument sign, as we like to call it, was more of an informational sign to let people know what's going on and to benefit the entire city, not just the university corridor. So we do list activities that are going on throughout our city. This sign is more of a destination type of location or attraction that we're trying to create for the university corridor. And when we're creating or developing these initiatives, I guess you could say, or these projects, we're looking at a broader range of an impact instead of just choosing, for example, one storefront to help or one business. We're trying to see how we can benefit the whole area of the city. I do not have hard data, but I can tell you that many, many cities have signs like these, and they attract not only people to them, but as you know, our world is very different now, and social media dictates a lot, and people post and tag these cities, and then people go and visit. Ironically, or I don't know if that's the right word, but to take a picture in front of these signs, and then they start doing everything else that city has to offer and spend their money here. So that's the concept that or the idea that we're following.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, we see it downtown with some of the murals, for sure. I think my sort of reservation here is variances are not supposed to be something that we just, hand out all over the place. And we've already done one for this location, and now we're saying, well, actually, we want more signs. We need more signs. I'm a little concerned about, well, what are other businesses? What's to stop them to come before us with the same exact rationale that COVID hurt their business, and therefore that's why they should get a giant Las Cruces sign outside of their business? So I'm a little wary of the fact that we've already done this once and now we're doing it a second time. What's to stop other businesses from wanting to do the same thing? That being said, I completely understand the appeal of it. I feel like if this were in a district like downtown, or maybe in the future in El Paseo, that's a little bit more pedestrianized, I could totally see how this could be a big draw. I'm just not certain that in front of the convention center, which is surrounded by nothing, that this is really the solution to the problem. Those are just my opinions and thoughts. You're free to respond to them, but that's just kind of where I'm coming from.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring up one point. The reason we didn't choose downtown is because downtown already has a lot of murals and so forth, elements that draw people there, and we do want to draw more people to the university corridor. A lot is being built, and just with that said, I feel like a lot of growth can happen there, and this could help that.
Thank you. And I guess just for staff, do you want to maybe address how, are there other examples where we've seen multiple variances like this where, ideally this would have all happened in one go, right? But here we are, sort of piecemealing this together. Are there any other examples of where we've seen variances come and then, a short time later, for literally the same thing, ask for the same variance?
Mr. Chair, all that comes to mind would be essentially along the interstate where, for instance, off of Hickory Loop, we had a couple of developments out there where they just put up they got a variance to the height of a freestanding sign because of the overpass that blocked it, so they got that variance there. So, but the problem was, though, that sign was located in the back of their property. So when people came off of Avenida Mesilla, they're looking for it, but it was off of Hickory Loop, which is a completely different street, so they could never get to that business. So they got a variance for a second sign so they could put it on the Hickory Loop side. So there's one instance where that happened. Additionally, on top of that, did want to mention as well, they are kind of restricted because technically speaking, if they're located good gravy, out of the university district, just let's say they were zone commercial, they'd be allowed the 2 freestanding signs by right, and not restricted this much in height and this much in size. It's just that they're being in the university district, that's the restrictions are put on them. Again, because I push back, university district is supposed to be more of a pedestrian friendly. Staff feels that's a little bit further down university, and this is a little more of a actual driving area, if you will, sir. So I just want to bring that up.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Smith?
I just have one question for staff. Just looking at this variance of 3 feet 4 inches, and then looking at the photo or the rendering of the sign that they want to put up, is that measurement, because it looks like, I mean, it's already an existing wall there. Is that from the ground, or is that just the height of the actual letters themselves?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Enrico, the actual height is measured, the 6 foot 4 inches actually measured from the top of the letter to the bottom of the pedestal itself. So staff did take the entire structure into account when we're looking at variances, sir.
Okay, I should have looked at it, drawing a little closer. Okay.
Also, point of clarification for you is it's also 45 feet wide. So it's
Correct.
It's 6 feet tall, 45 feet wide.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Thurston, go ahead.
Can you flip to the slide that the rationale for being able to do it? So when I've gone to other cities, I've seen signs like these, but I don't go to the area because of the sign. I go to the area because it's normally filled with other activities. You see them like by baseball fields, by like I think Phoenix has one, but it's downtown by the basketball area. And so you see them throughout other places, but it's really predominantly pedestrian, where you're having people outside and taking pictures of it, but it's also because there's other people there. In this case, we're predominantly cars that are going to be driving through there, and the only other time that I see people using it is going to be when people are already at the convention center. So I don't see it as a draw to someone that's going to say, hey, because of this sign, I am now going to book the convention center, or I want to have something here. I can see it, the rationale behind, well, at least for me, I can see it as I went to the convention center and then I took a picture afterwards and I posted it, but I just don't see the correlation of it actually creating actual tourism or helping the industry. It's more of, we had our event here and we took a cool picture and we posted it. However, I do like the sign. It looks great, if you're there and going things. But my only one fear of this is when we have someone else come in and asks for a variance of this size for the same thing. Does that get us into any trouble for approving it for one versus approving it for the other? Because this is 6'4" by 45 feet wide. So I like it. It looks good. But then when I have someone else Walmart comes in and says, hey, I want my 6'4" sign by 45 feet wide that says Walmart. I think we would instantly say no to that one. So that's my only basis of being a little nervous on saying yes to that.
I might just chime in just a little bit there. I completely see what you're saying about a precedent, to some degree being set with the sign. I guess just to kind of look at potentially the other side of the coin. It's nice to have some welcoming light and kind of warming light in the town. Whether or not the location right now maybe is particularly developed enough for it, I can see that. But I'm sure that university exit and all that does get a lot of traffic and stuff. I don't know if it's like a no harm, no foul. I would personally potentially like to see, more signage and more lit up nighttime around town. I know that's obviously typically going to be the buildings that are going to be, taking in that cost electrical wise. I don't know how it harms the environment or anything like that on that side, but, I just chiming in a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking along the same lines as Commissioner Acosta. I was just thinking coming off 25, if you're heading down University, you're driving, past the university, through the university, and if you're heading downtown, the convention center is going to be there, and that sign will be there. So that is almost like a gateway, kind of to like getting into the city proper. And then, as he mentioned, at the exit of University coming off I-10, if you come off I-10 and you take a ride on the University, that sign will be there too, as almost like a gateway to the city going toward the university. So I kept looking at the size of it, and I was just wondering if it needed to be that big. But my thinking now is that it having a little bit more lighting, something that's a little bit bigger. It's not a billboard, but it's kind of welcoming to the city. So I don't know. It seems like it would probably work with this size at the convention center because of the purpose of that building and then the proximity to the university. So I don't know. It's something that I think may work. So.
Mr. Chair, I would have to concur with Commissioner Acosta. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I think that if you look at the convention center now, that's kind of our gateway. I don't have statistics, I'm sure Raquel does. Our tourists, it really drives a lot of tourists. There are a lot of conventions, and having the sign like this is really exciting. You have the monument sign that gives you information, but if you're passing, you've got to catch it just right. It does have Las Cruces Convention Center but on top of the building, but you can barely see it. So I think this is going to be a good move for the city if we do grant this variance. And again, variance is a case-by-case basis. So if Walmart did come forward with it, they have to justify, this is the city of, the public own this. I mean, we all pay into the Las Cruces Convention Center. So I think it does spur economic development in some aspects. I mean, some people may not want to stop by and take a picture of it, but I know a lot of people do. I know I go to Roswell and see Roswell with the alien, and I stop by, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and I want to take a picture of it with my family. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I understand that you've come up to this council several times with the variance, but I would look at it, and make sure that this is something that we want to do, and we're not up for a third or fourth or fifth time with these variances. But I'm pretty excited about it. I think that's a really cool move for us to take.
All right, I'll go to public comment, and then we can wrap up the discussion. So is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on this item? Can I get a show of hands? All right, seeing none, we'll come back. If there's no more questions or comments, looking for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
This is on the motion to approve 6.2. Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
Commissioner Thurston?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes. Motion
Thank you.
passes. All right, looks like next on the agenda is an election of officers. I'll look to staff. Are you planning to facilitate that, or how? One position, so we have chair, vice chair, and secretary, right? Just those three? Chair, vice chair, and apparently secretary is optional. So nodding of heads, does someone really want to be a secretary? All right, then we'll do chair and vice chair. So I think it's a commissioner makes a nomination and then it gets seconded. So just a nomination and then we'll roll call vote. So looking for a nomination for chair.
Mr. Chair. Sub's word. I would like to nominate Commissioner Thurston as chair.
This is on the motion to nominate Chair, Commissioner Thurston as chair. Commissioner Acosta?
I'm sorry, so just to clarify here, so this is specifically just voting for Commissioner Thurston as chair. Is there going to be other nominees, or that was it? Is that right?
That's the motion right now.
Yes?
Commissioner Thurston?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
What if, Commissioner Kaiser's been doing a great job. So I had a different role in mind for Commissioner Thurston. So I guess I would say no.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
Chair?
Oh, this is awkward. Do you want to be chair? Yes.
All right. Congratulations. Motion passes.
Looking for a motion or a nomination for vice chair.
I nominate current Commissioner Kaiser as vice chair.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
No. For
Commissioner Thurston?
No.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Acosta?
No.
And chair?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's a tie, yeah.
I've got,
Or
it's
no,
3-2.
Motion.
Motion
Okay.
passes, yes.
Lost track. All right. So, and no secretary. No one wants to be a secretary? It's optional, I guess.
Point of order, our milers do have a area for signature of the secretary of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we could always, and that's what's required by code. So should we have a secretary just in case for that?
Who wants to be a secretary?
I nominate Commissioner Janet Acosta for secretary.
All right. Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
Commissioner Thurston?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Acosta?
Yes.
And chair?
Yes.
Congratulations. Motion passes.
All right. Then we'll move on to discussion and staff announcements.
No further discussions tonight, Chair. Staff announcements, we should have a few cases for this next coming month as well. Looks like things have kind of died down a little bit right now. Well, beginning of the year, they are picking up, unfortunately, a little. So we should be having a little bit lengthier of these. So just please make sure, try your best to be at these meetings. That way we make sure we have quorum out here. But thank y'all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And I just wanted to make one request of staff. Would it be possible to get a presentation of an update of the Three Crosses redevelopment project? That's the one out at Apanuka Park at Solano and North Main. I know there's just been a lot of movement. They've really come a long way in some of their infrastructure, and so it'd be nice to get just an update on everything that's going on out there.
Sure, we could do that, sir.
Thank you. All right, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We're adjourned. We'll see you in April. Thanks for coming out this evening.